I have spent most of my life as a ranger in Wind Cave National Park, hidden deep in the Black Hills of South Dakota. On the surface, the land is stunning rolling prairies, thick forests, rocky hills rising like old bones from the earth. But the true heart of this place doesn't lie above. It lives below. In the vast twisting labyrinth of Wind Cave, the cave breathes. When the pressure shifts, you feel wind rushing through the openings, as if the earth itself is inhaling and exhaling. The Lakota people have always said this cave is sacred, a doorway between worlds. They believe their ancestors emerged from these passages during creation. I never thought much of those stories until the day someone vanished inside. It was early fall, 2003, when the call came. 2 hikers reported seeing a boy near the entrance. They watched him run straight toward the cave. One of them, Mark, crawled in after him, promising his friend he'd be right back. Minutes turned into hours. He never returned. By the time our team arrived, daylight was gone, and the cave exhaled its icy breath. We slipped inside, headlamps cutting weak cones of light through the dark, the tunnels bent like a spider's web, stones scraping our shoulders, silence pressing on our ears. The first sign came faster, shred of blue fabric clinging to rock. Further on, a boot print pressed into damp clay. Then, worse, blood streaked along the walls, glistening under our beams. Every step forward, the cave seemed to fight us. Passages tightened into slits. Pools of still water mirrored our lights back at us. In one chamber, clay walls bore frantic claw marks, as if someone had tried to dig their way out. Nearby, a torn glove lay in the dirt. We pushed on, but radios went silent. Batteries drained faster than they should have, and the air grew thick, suffocating. Some swore they heard faint whispers in the rushing wind. Others called it imagination. But standing in that endless dark, I felt watched. We searched 6 days, crawling through impossible spaces, charting new tunnels never before mapped. We reached a hidden lake, where Mark's boot prints trailed into the muck and vanished. His body was never found. Only fragments remained, smears of blood, a crushed water bottle, one boot half buried in clay. On the 7th day, the search was called off. We left the cave behind, but I don't think the cave let go of him. Even now, I still guide tours, still walk those tunnels, but I never go deep unless duty forces me. When I do, I keep my light close, my ears sharp, because in the black, the cave still breathes. And sometimes, in that hollow rush of wind, I swear it's not just air moving through stone. It's something older, something waiting. When you spend enough years working in the wilderness, the lines between history and legend start to blur. Locals have a way of passing stories down, whispering them around campfires, or murmuring them after dark. When the forests are too quiet, most you can dismiss as folklore. But every now and then, one digs into your bones and refuses to let go. For me, that story began up in northern Minnesota, near the Canadian border, in a place called Voyageurs National Park. On the surface, it's paradise. Thick forests rolling endlessly toward the horizon, vast lakes stitched together like shattered mirrors, islands scattered across the water like broken glass. To wander there is to feel both free and swallowed at the same time, but beneath that beauty lives a tale I wish I'd never heard, the story of the Burn Man. The legend stretches back to the early 1900s, long before the park was ever carved. From the wilderness, this was logging country then. The shorelines were dotted with timber camps, rough cabins, filled with men who lived and bled for the axe and saw, according to the old accounts. One night a campfire got out of control. Flames leapt from building to building, wooden roofs collapsing like paper under the heat. Most of the workers managed to escape into the night, but not all. One man never came out. His name, if anyone remembered it, was lost to time. All they found of him was ash and rumor. Some swore they saw his shape against the fire reaching, screaming as the walls came down. Others whispered that his body was never recovered at all. Out of those ashes grew the story, a burnt and broken man wandering the forests, searching for those who abandoned him. Some called him a curse, some called him vengeance, but everyone agreed on one thing. When the woods went silent and the air filled with smoke, he was near. Fast forward almost a century. It was the summer of 2005. I was working as a seasonal ranger station. Near Kabatagama Lake, most days were quiet. helping campers, clearing trails, answering the same questions about wildlife. But one evening, just as the sun dropped low, a group of campers burst into the visitor center. They were pale, shaking, and talking over each other, desperate to get the words out. At first I thought maybe a bear had wandered too close, or someone had gotten hurt, but their story was stranger. They claimed they'd been hiking a trail at dusk, when suddenly the forest went quiet. No birds, no crickets, no rustle of wind, just silence so deep it pressed against their ears. Then came the smell, not wood smoke from a campfire, but something harsher, acrid, chemical like tar burning on hot metal. Out of the tree line, they said a man stepped, or something that used to be a man. His skin was blackened, twisted, his face cracked with glowing orange fissures, like embers still clinging to a dying fire. He limped forward, slowly dragging one leg, and wherever his foot pressed into the dirt, ash scattered, as if the earth itself was burning beneath him. They swore he looked at them, his mouth opened wide as if to scream. But no sound came, only the hiss of burning wood. That was when they ran, and they didn't stop, until they were back at the visitor center. I didn't believe them, not really. But duty is duty, another ranger and I grabbed our gear, and headed out to check the trail. The forest was wrong that night. No sound, just the crunch of our boots and the thud of our hearts. Then the smell came sharp, bitter, not drifting from a campfire miles away, but crawling between the trees as if alive. We followed it. That's when we found the prints. Human-shaped, but not right. The soil where they pressed wasn't just indented. It was scorched, blackened, as if someone had pressed red-hot iron into the ground. Further along, we found a tree. Its bark was blistered, blackened, still warm to the touch. Yet there hadn't been a single fire reported in weeks. My partner muttered under his breath, "We shouldn't be here for the first time." I agreed. We turned to go back, and that's when I saw him. Between the pines, just for a heartbeat, stood a figure bent, burned, smoke rising from his skin, as though his flesh still smoldered. His eyes caught the edge of my flashlight, hollow sockets, but glowing deep inside like coals. He didn't move toward us. He didn't need to. One look was enough to freeze the blood in my veins. We ran, branches slashed at our faces, the darkness swallowing our footsteps. By the time we reached the truck, we were gasping, half in shock. But the smell clung to us, sharp, bitter, not drifting from a campfire miles away, but seeping into our clothes like smoke. And worse, when I looked down at the soles of our boots, we were smeared in ash, even though the trail had been clean when we set out. I'd like to say that was the end, that it was just imagination, just fear feeding fear. But since that night, I've spoken with others, campers, hikers, even another ranger. They all describe the same thing. Silence that crushes the forest, the smell of smoke with no fire, and a burned figure waiting in the trees. Whether he is a spirit or just a story made flesh, I cannot tell you, but I know this. If you ever find yourself in Voyageurs National Park, and the woods go silent and the air tastes of ash, do not linger, because some fires never die.